The content of this podcast is provided for general informational purposes only and is not intended as, nor should it be considered a substitute for professional medical advice.
Hello, this is Karen Nickel, family nurse practitioner, and you are listening to Itchy and Bitchy, a podcast that provides answers to your many unanswered health questions. Again, before I get started, I want to remind you about my course called The Perimenopause Answer. And if you are going through this phase in life called perimenopause, or if you're not sure if you're in perimenopause, I would love to have the opportunity to talk to you about the course to see if it's the right fit for you. I have really enjoyed getting to know many of you, and I'm so grateful to each of you for listening to and sharing the podcast. There is a link on our website, itchyandbitchy.com, and our Facebook page, I&B Podcasts, where you can schedule an appointment for a Zoom call with me. This is a Zoom call with me, not a webinar, so when you make an appointment, I will be sitting at my desk waiting for you to join the one-on-one Zoom call. In the last episode, I talked about the ways mosquitoes can make us sick and how to treat those mosquito-borne diseases. Today, I'm going to talk to you about the prevention measures that keep you safe from these potentially life-threatening diseases. So let's start with vaccine options. There is not a vaccine for West Nile virus. Remember last week, 2 weeks ago, I spoke about West Nile virus, dengue fever, and malaria. Well, there is not a vaccine for West Nile virus, but vaccines for both malaria and dengue do exist. The use of both vaccines are only for those people who live in areas where malaria and dengue infections are found in high numbers, which is not the U.S. There are 2 vaccines for malaria, and the World Health Organization, WHO, recommends that the vaccine be given to children living in areas of moderate and high transmission of malaria. The vaccine is given to children from age 5 months in a schedule of 4 doses. If children are in a high-risk area, WHO says children can be given a 5th dose a year after their 4th dose. The dengue vaccine is a live vaccine that requires 3 doses given 6 months apart for ages 9 through age 45 or 9 through age 60 who live in dengue endemic areas, meaning dengue is happening all the time. Before vaccination, people must be screened for previous dengue infection with a blood test, and only those who test positive, meaning they have had a previous dengue exposure, should receive the vaccine. So let's talk about some prevention measures. If you live in an area like the U.S. that has low numbers of mosquito-borne infections, which is likely true for most, if not all of our listeners, taking measures to prevent mosquito bites is the best way to protect yourself. It is especially important if you have plans to travel to areas of the world where mosquito-borne infections are common. Let's start with insect repellents to use on your body or clothing. Always check the products to confirm that they include EPA-approved ingredients. You will see an EPA number on the label if it is EPA approved. Effective ingredients include DEET, D-E-E-T, which most of us are familiar with, picaridin, permethrin, and IR3535, and lemon eucalyptus oil. Look for 10 to 30% concentration of the active ingredient in your product for really bug-heavy areas. So you need 10 to 30% concentration if you're going to be in a really bug-heavy area, or if you're going to be outdoors for long periods. If you're outside for shorter durations or the area isn't super buggy, you can get away with lower concentrations. If you want a good non-DEET option, lemon eucalyptus oil works as well as lower concentrations of DEET products. The company Cutter, C-U-T-T-E-R, makes a 30% lemon eucalyptus oil product that is a very good option. Purchasing permethrin-treated clothing or buying permethrin spray and treating your own clothes is a good option to prevent mosquito and tick bites. When you treat your clothing with the spray, it lasts through about 5 washes, but those clothing items should be washed separately from your other laundry. Treating your clothing also means you can avoid applying the repellent directly on the skin that your clothing covers. That being said, permethrin can be damaging to the nervous system, so using bug sprays with permethrin directly on your skin is not recommended. And it's important to keep it out of reach of children and pets. It's toxic to cats. It's used to kill fleas and ticks in dogs. A lot of flea and tick collars for dogs contain permethrin. So you should avoid petting animals that have been treated with flea products that contain permethrin. Keep in mind that permethrin also kills good insects like bees and might harm birds. And scientists aren't sure if permethrin is safe if you're pregnant. So you want to be really careful when you're spraying your clothing with permethrin and make sure you're not contaminating areas outdoors or you're doing it around other people, especially pregnant people. In a comparison of study of repellents, the least effective products were wristbands or ankle bands treated with DEET or citronella, which offered almost no protection. Mosquito repellent only works on the surface to which it's applied directly. So those little buzzers are happy to bite skin right around the wrist or ankle bands. Interestingly, in a 2015 study, Victoria's Secret's bombshell fragrance worked as well at 120 minutes after application as a product that contained 98% DEET. Unbelievable. The researchers were quite surprised by this, but stated that they did use high concentrations of the fragrance, so it might not work as well with lower concentrations. Also, they found that Avon's Skin So Soft product, which has long been thought to be an excellent bug repellent, provided no protection. So, if you're going to get something that's not your typical bug repellent, Victoria's Secret bombshell fragrance would be your pick. Applying the repellent correctly is key. So follow the instructions given on the product label. Don't use repellents under clothing. And don't use repellents on cuts or irritated skin. Don't use repellents near the mouth or eyes, and use them sparingly around the ears. When using spray products, spray the product on your hands first and then apply it to your face. And then wash your hands after applying. Use just enough product to lightly cover exposed skin and or clothing. More does not mean better. Don't let children handle the product. When using repellents on children, put some on your hands first and then apply it to the child. Don't put repellents on child's hands. You don't want them putting their hands in their mouth. Again, wash your hands after applying. When you come inside, wash your skin and the clothes that have repellent on them. Be careful not to mix your bug spray and sunscreen. I know I've been guilty of doing that. Sunscreens have been shown to allow repellents to penetrate more deeply into the skin than they normally would. We don't want that. To avoid this, apply your sunscreen first and then wait at least 20 minutes before applying your bug spray or bug product. Or you can try a 2-in-1 product that's designed to have those two elements together. If you develop a rash or other symptoms you think were caused by using a repellent, stop using the product. Wash the affected area with soap and water and contact your local provider or poison control center if the rash is bad. And if you go to your provider, bring the product with you to show that person. Stay tuned for more tips on protecting yourself this summer. Info on patio protection up next after this quick break. Okay, we're on to what you can do to protect yourself when you're sitting out on your patio or deck. Personally, we own a Thermacell rechargeable mosquito repeller at our home while we sit out on our patio. This little gizmo was rated number 1 by Good Housekeeping for repelling mosquitoes on your patio. It uses EPA-reviewed pyrethroid as its active ingredient. It provides excellent protection, and it's easy to use, and the EPA-reviewed formula is safe and odorless. Odorless being a really good thing. However, it doesn't work well in windy condition because it just blows it everywhere. And it only protects against mosquitoes, not ticks or other pests. Another option are patio string lights that also have bug repellers on the string. One product example is called the Tiki Bite Fighter lights. Tiki Bite Fighter. And they have bulbs and repellers, which makes them a fun way to create a mosquito-free patio or porch. There are 3 repellers per string that work like the Thermacell device I just talked about. It works in the same way. And they're spaced along this 36-foot length of string lights. Each strand has a switch to turn on the repellers, so they are active only when you need them. The Tiki repellers use a lower concentration of repellent, so they don't cover as large of an area as the Thermacell device. However, depending on how they're hung, it's possible to protect a 12 by 12 foot patio with this light feature. Another option are inexpensive citronella mosquito coils. They work well, but they're not as portable, versatile, or durable as the products I just mentioned. And their burning ends release smoke that has an odor. Another option is a clip-on mosquito repellent device. And they're a good option if you are outdoors and sitting for a while, sitting in one place. A device like off-brand clip-ons use a quiet, battery-powered fan that circulates the repellent, and within minutes, it creates head-to-toe protection for up to 12 hours. You clip the repellent fan onto a belt, a waistband, or bag, or place it on a convenient location next to you, or clip it to your chair that you set up. This option is perfect for protection against mosquitoes in the yard or on the beach or at a park or camping, gardening, or watching outdoor sports. Off clip-on is intended for use by one person. It's not going to protect other people. And it is ideal for non-active outdoor occasion as it takes a few minutes for the repellent to build up around you to provide benefit. So if you're sitting still outdoors, this can be a really good option. Citronella candles are moderately effective at repelling mosquitoes, but only in the immediate area surrounding the candle. The closer you are to the candle, the less likely you'll get a mosquito bite. You should think of citronella products as just one layer of protection against mosquitoes. Citronella candles do not keep mosquitoes out of your yard, and they do nothing to prevent mosquitoes from multiplying. So how do we prevent mosquitoes from breeding and multiplying? Well, given that mosquito hatches can occur in as few as 4 days, preventing invasions requires diligence and regular maintenance. If you fail to keep the yard clean of debris and items that can hold water, a single rainstorm can quickly lead to a spike in mosquito numbers. Eliminating potential breeding areas is the primary prevention method. Mosquitoes can breed in the amount of water contained in an upturned bottle cap. That's right. The amount of water in a plastic soda bottle cap is enough water for mosquitoes to breed. Other areas in the yard that commonly collect water and lead to increased numbers of mosquitoes include low-lying ground or contours in your lawn, drainage areas, plant pots and the trays that the pots sit in, stacked or overturned patio furniture, tires, if you got a tire sitting in your backyard for some reason, bird baths, trash, debris piles, untreated or neglected swimming pools or decorative ponds, Roof gutters that are dirty or clogged. You've got water just sitting in the gutter when that happens. Tree holes, upturned buckets and trash containers, wheelbarrows, boats, pet bowls. There are a lot of things. Anywhere you look that has a thing that can hold water can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes. If you have a pond or other decorative water feature in your yard, you don't have to drain it to prevent mosquitoes from breeding there. The easiest solution is to treat the water with a larvicide that kills mosquito eggs. There are treatment products such as Summit brand mosquito dunks. They're like little discs that are suitable for use in ponds, bird baths, and fountains because they are safe for fish, birds, and other animals. However, if you keep fish in a pond, you may not need any treatment, as many common pond fish species such as bass, goldfish, mosquito fish, bluegill, and catfish eat mosquito larvae. But if you don't have a fish in your pond or your fountain, mosquito dunks are a really, really good option. Instead of treating water in bird baths, it's better to simply empty and refill them with fresh water every 2 to 3 days. Again, mosquito larvae hatch in as few as 4 days. So if you change the water before 4 days, you're not likely to have mosquito eggs in that water. If you have plants that have leaves that are cup-shaped and can hold water, they should be treated or flushed with fresh water every few days. For example, bromeliads, a tropical plant, have a leaf shape that can hold enough water to support mosquito breeding. There are some other ways to prevent mosquito bites. Running a strong, ordinary household fan is one of the most effective non-toxic ways to keep mosquitoes away from you while you're sitting outdoors. A fan can reduce the mosquito's ability to land on you by up to 65% for those sitting near the fan. An oscillating fan is best for covering a large area for multiple people, but even a simple box fan will do the job if you're sitting in the fan stream. If you have a green thumb, you can add a few mosquito-repelling plants to your yard to keep mosquitoes away. Most of these plants are herbs and repel mosquitoes thanks to their strong scents. Here's a few to add to your garden: citronella, bee balm, lemongrass, basil, catnip, peppermint, rosemary, lavender, garlic, sage, and alliums, which are garlic or onion plants. Also, during warm months, avoid being outdoors during dawn and dusk. The wind typically dies down as the sun rises and sets, which brings mosquitoes out to feed. If you can try to stay inside during these times when the weather is warm, you'll be able to prevent quite a few mosquito bites. Try to stay cool. I know that's hard in summer, but try to stay cool because your sweat attracts mosquitoes. Wear light-colored clothing made of tight weave fabric. In addition to using scents to search for your skin, mosquitoes also use their vision during daylight hours. Since they fly very close to the ground, they tend to find food sources by looking for things that contrast with the horizon. So dark colors stand out, but light colors that look like the sky are less attractive to them. Mosquitoes can't penetrate clothing that has a very tight weave, and since cotton and linen have a loose weave, those fabrics don't protect against mosquito bites very well. Synthetic fibers like those found in high-tech athletic apparel tend to be woven tightly enough to keep bugs out. Any garment that offers sun protection will also have a weave tight enough to prevent mosquito bites. Long sleeves and pants will, of course, provide the best protection. As I mentioned in the last episode, carbon dioxide, which you exhale from your lungs, is the primary thing mosquitoes use to find you. And when your heart rate is elevated, your body produces more CO2. Exercise, drinking alcohol, and eating spicy foods, basically anything that cranks up your metabolic rate, will increase your production and release of carbon dioxide, which makes you just irresistible to mosquitoes. Also, being overweight or pregnant can increase your CO2 output. So if you're outdoors and you know your heart rate will be increasing because you're hiking up a mountain or whatever, make sure you wear protective clothing or apply a repellent to reduce mosquito bites because they will likely find you. Any scented perfume, lotion, or soap could potentially attract mosquitoes. So if you want to reduce your attractiveness to mosquitoes, avoid scented products in general. Of course, that doesn't apply to Victoria's Secret's Bombshell fragrance, which, as I said earlier, is a very effective repellent in high concentrations. Strange, but true. So if you do get a bite, in spite of implementing these prevention measures, and if you are like me, the bites are the bane of your existence, you know the struggle of walking around with itchy, painful welts. Reactions to bug bites vary widely and are based on your individual immune response. Unfortunately, my immune response is significant. Mosquito bites are the most common type of allergic reaction and can cause bothersome, itchy, red, swollen, painful, firm skin lesions that can last up to 10 days. If you know you're sensitive to bug bites, like me, or just want to plan ahead for your next outing, it's not a terrible idea to stock up on bite relief products. The best bug bite relief products can help you find instant relief. To help stop the itch symptom, look for products that can numb the area to dull that itchy sensation, or products like hydrocortisone that can reduce inflammation, antihistamines that can decrease redness, swelling, and itchiness, and skin protectants. Product forms include sprays, lotions, ointments, balms, and patches. And the most common and effective ingredients include camphor and menthol, and those provide a cooling effect on the skin. Lidocaine or pramoxine are topical local anesthetics that dull the sensation of itch and pain. Again, hydrocortisone is a topical corticosteroid that decreases inflammation, leading to reduced redness, swelling, and itch. Diphenhydramine, which most of us know as Benadryl, the brand Benadryl, this is an antihistamine which decreases redness, swelling, and itch. Zinc oxide, which most of us know as calamine lotion, is an astringent that helps to dry lesions that are oozing or weeping. It also has a mild antiseptic property for open lesions. And many sunscreens also contain zinc oxide. So if you don't have calamine lotion handy, using your zinc oxide sunscreen could also be of use and help. Essential oils such as peppermint and lavender can be a good itch relief alternative for people who don't want to apply chemicals to their skin. Of course, don't use these if you've had an allergic reaction called contact dermatitis when using essential oils in the past. I hope these tips help you have a safe and mosquito bite-free summer. Thank you for listening to and for sharing the podcast with others. And wherever you listen to your podcast, please leave a review and rate the podcast. Your reviews and ratings matter. I encourage you to visit our Facebook page, IMB Podcast, where you can leave comments or questions for me. Our website is itchyandbitchy.com, where there are blogs with some of our subjects available for you to read. I just posted on both IMB Podcast and Itchy and Bitchy some photos, a couple of photos that a listener shared with me, showing her practicing grounding, which I did a podcast on a couple episodes ago. So a lot of fun for me to get those things. On the Facebook page and website, we have the information about how to schedule an appointment with me, not a webinar, so we can chat about how my perimenopause course can help you if you're going through this phase in life. As always, thanks to Forrest Wenzel, our producer and composer of our theme music, and the person who does all the behind-the-scenes work to make this podcast possible. Thank you, Forrest. Check out his album called An Awful Lot. Go to wherever you stream your favorite music to listen. And if you don't know where to stream music, you can find the album on Apple Music or Spotify. Remember, your health is in your hands.